All right, welcome to the weekly walk and talk. I really should have started this an hour ago when I started my walk because my eyes are just pouring with water. This wind, I know you can't hear the wind because I've got a good blocker, is so strong today. But in the background behind me, that is Langness Lighthouse, and that is where Jeremy Clarkson used to live, if you've ever watched Top Gear. And he moved out of that house because he got fed up with people coming up to his window every single day. Imagine that, you just sat there in your underwear, whatever you wear, pants, boxers, whatever. You just sat there chilling. Someone comes up to your window and starts taking pictures of you. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he moved out. But how's it going? How's your great reset going? Are you feeling happy right now? Are you happy that you will own nothing? Will you be happy with that? Well, if you're not happy yet, you will be in 2030, apparently. Oh, we have to laugh at these things, don't we? We have to laugh because it's just so sinister. Gosh, my eyes. I know I look really rough today. Thank you. I know you're going to start dropping those comments telling me how tired and rough. Have you been dragged through a hedge backwards? All these sort of comments. Yeah, I love the jokes. I actually hardly got any sleep last night, probably 3 hours sleep. And there's a funny story behind this. So you know I've told you a few times before that I don't comment as much anymore I don't reply to your comments below on the channel, because if I reply, then the scammers who impersonate me and copy my account, they reply underneath. So let's say I say, oh, thank you, John, that's a kind comment, I appreciate it. What they do is they comment underneath and say, hey, here's my number, by the way, WhatsApp me or Telegram me. And then you think that's me and you message, and then next thing people get scammed out of thousands and thousands. So anyway, overnight, I thought, you know what, there's so many questions about my new course, my stock market course, that I'm going to reply to a lot of people. Well, because I replied to so many people, YouTube thought that I was a scammer. So they froze my account. I'll throw the image on screen. So they froze my account, and it took me all night to get it sorted again because I knew I had to do this video today and I didn't have the luxury of waiting over the weekend. So that was one thing. The other thing, I don't know where you are watching from right now, but I live on the Isle of Man and we're right in the middle of the Irish Sea. And although it looks lovely and hot today, well, why am I wearing a sort of thin fleece over the top of my t-shirt? Well, that's because it is very windy and it's a little bit chilly, even though, gosh, it's beautiful. Look at the sky behind me. It is absolutely stunning. But last night, the temperature absolutely plummeted and it was freezing cold last night. So I woke up at about 4 a.m. So bear in mind, I didn't go to sleep till about 2. I wake up at 4 a.m. and it's freezing, so I had to grab a blanket. And I just woke up at 5:30 anyway to just get on with the day. It wasn't even worth going back to sleep. Okay, before I forget, another really important one. And this is a weird one, by the way. And I only found out about this just a few days ago from Auntie Aggie, who is she Nigerian or Ghanaian? I'm not sure. She was originally one of my original subscribers. She came to an event a long time ago. And she's about 70 years old. And she's the funniest lady ever. But she told me, hey, do you know there's something going on about your weekly walk and talk? And I said, no, what do you mean? Actually, it's funny, I just said, what do you mean? Everything I say to her when I'm trying to explain something, she says, what do you mean? What do you mean? That's all she ever says to me. Sorry if I butchered the accent there. But she said, do you know that everyone thinks, like loads of people think, that your Friday walk and talk is fake and that you're on a green screen? I was like, no one thinks that. She says, yeah, look at your comments. So anyway, I pulled up the comments and it's true. There are hundreds of people that think that I'm using a green screen every week when I do this walk. So let me just read this comment out. Prove you are not using a green screen. Touch something in the surrounding landscape, otherwise fake, with nothing but bot comments and thumbs up. How weird is that? I mean, that is like the most weird comment I've ever heard. That is so strange, isn't it? Oh, Boots. Let's see what's going on down here. People actually think that this is a green screen. How people have got that into their minds, I have absolutely no idea. But there's loads of these comments. It's just relentless, the amount of people that think I'm using a green screen. Honestly, it would have to be the best green screen in the world to replicate all of this and the light and the sun and the sounds and everything else. It would have to be quite impressive. Oh, we got a little dog coming over. Hello. And don't worry, we're going to get to all the weird stuff today. I've got a couple of weird ones for you. I know you love that stuff, so I've got that coming up. But just before we get onto that, one other thing. Oh yeah, I've actually had warnings now on my videos, 2 warnings, and these are from YouTube. So YouTube have given me these warnings. So you know, whenever I talk about, oh, the food crisis isn't being caused by what's going on in Ukraine, the energy crisis around the world isn't being caused by what's going on in Ukraine, it's ESG mandates that are causing a lot of it. I get these warnings, so I'm going to throw it on screen, but let me read this out. Due to the war in Ukraine, we will pause monetization of content that exploits, dismisses, or condones the war. Talk about increased censorship. So now it looks like I can't even talk about the truth behind the food and the energy situation. I was actually out for a walk last weekend and I thought this was really, really funny. So if you're a guy, take note. And if you're a lady married to a guy or with a guy, mention this to him. So there's a tower on the island similar to this one behind me here. And it's called Braddon Head. I think that's what it's called. But there's this big tower anyway. And you've got to walk to it. You know, if you walk from the port, it's probably 20 minutes, something like that. Well, I was going for this walk and I met with this group of guys. They were sort of in their 20s, early 30s, I suppose. And they'd come over from the UK for a, you know, activities weekend or whatever. And this is the sort of status right now of guys, right? So they're walking along, I'm talking to them, they've got all the gear, no idea. And, you know, they're all trying to one-up each other, talking a good game and all this. Oh yeah, we're going to walk up, we're going to climb the tower, and then we're going to walk all the way back this other way. We're going to be walking for hours and all this sort of stuff. They hadn't even broken their boots in. Let me just add that. But, you know, they're talking this big game up. So we're having this talk and we're, you know, going through it all and walking towards this tower. And it starts raining, right? And bear in mind, these guys have said that after this walk, they're going to be going in the sea. They're going to have a swim. And I said, it's pretty cold. I go in every week, but it's pretty cold, just to let you know. And they're saying, yeah, we're going to go in for a swim and all this. Anyway, it starts raining. And spitting at first, just a little bit. And then after a minute, one of the guys is like, oh, yeah, it's getting a bit wet, isn't it? And the other guy's saying, yeah, it is getting a bit wet. What do you think? And all the guys stop. I'm thinking, why are you stopping? It's water, it's rain. And they're saying, yeah, I don't really want to get drenched here walking up to this thing. Anyway, within 2 minutes, they've all decided that they're going to turn back and they're going to go to the pub. So here's these guys, really tough, talking it up. And it starts raining. They get a little bit wet for a second and they decide to throw in the towel. And I really just thought that is what society is moving towards at the moment. Guys that are supposed to be really tough, they looked tough. They had all the gear, like I said, no idea. But yeah, a little bit of rain, getting a little bit wet, and they just cave in. I was in a t-shirt, by the way. I was doing this walk in a t-shirt, and I got drenched, and I had a great time. I loved it. As soon as I got home, I just jumped in the shower. Not a big deal. But unfortunately now, we've got this agenda to demasculinitize. Is that even a word? You know what I'm saying? Men. So men are just becoming so soft. I'll give you another example. So when I took my break for 5 weeks, I messaged a couple of guys I know on the island, a couple of buddies, and I said, I'm going to go for a swim, going to go do some coasteering, which is climbing rocks, jumping in the water, a bit of snorkeling, stuff like that. And they said, I'm not joking you, this was the reply, have we got a guide? No, I'm not joking. That is what one of the guys said. Have we got a guide? And I said, no, in caps. And he said, what about a flotation device or some sort of safety features? I was like, I just ignored it. I've just left the group. I'm not even going to bother with those guys ever again. It's like, come on. People are so focused on health and safety and all this, that, oh, I can't get wet. I might catch the you know what. just gone so soft. Get a grip. Talking of getting the grip, King Charles is in trouble already. It's only his first week. He made 100 staff redundant during the Queen's church service. I think it was like a memorial service or something like that. 100 members of staff got redundancy. So imagine that. You're mourning, you're upset, you've worked for them for decades, and then you just get given a redundancy notice within a few days of the Queen dying. And I think we're seeing something quite unique at the moment with him, in that he seems to have a very short temper. And I'd heard this before, but actually seeing it on camera twice in the space of a week. I mean, who gets that angry and annoyed over a pen? I mean, come on. It's a pen, dude. Okay, let's get into the weird stuff then. New York has declared a state of emergency over the spread of polio. Yes, polio. And they are trying to boost vaccination rates.
New York has declared a state of emergency over the spread of the polio infections.
How did they detect it? That's what I wanted to know. I had to do a little bit of digging for this because I wanted to know, how did they detect it? That seems unusual. Maybe all these people were going to the doctor and they were like, what is this? Why are we having all of these cases? Let me tell you how they detected it. Stool samples taken from the sewer. No, this is not a joke. This is absolutely legit.
The polio virus has been detected in sewage samples from 4 different counties in New York. The state authorities began wastewater surveillance in the month of July after an unvaccinated adult caught polio in Rockland County.
I just had this image in my mind when I heard that of someone going down into the sewer in a hazmat suit or whatever and finding poo, putting it into some sort of a vial and then taking it back to the lab to test it for polio. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. It is so weird that I don't even know what to say about that. Drop your comments below what you think on that one. And talking of health and also weird stuff, what do you think to the new UK Health Secretary? Hey, how healthy is she? I think, you know what? When I look at all these health secretaries around the world now, you've got Britain, Belgium is probably the worst one. You've got Canada as well, very unusual. And then you have America. America's got some big issues right now, seriously. The country you become is as a result of your leadership. Same with most things. Everything we are is a result of our beliefs, our upbringing, our environment. So when you have some very strange people in these leadership roles dictating policy, I mean, who's that guy? Is it Sam? I think it's Sam Brinton. Okay, I'm going to throw an image up. I'm going to find an image and throw it on screen here. He deals with something like the nuclear waste or something like that. It's not just him. There was another one announced this week. Very, very unusual, these people. It's part of this new inclusive strategy. Personally, I just think it's making everything more weird. And I'm seeing that from Americans all the time. Sorry, I know most of my subscribers are American, but I'm seeing people getting more and more weird by the day. Just such strange stuff. And it's all coming out of America, of course. But what do you expect when you've got politicians and people in these, senior roles like this? They become role models for other people. A bit like Liz Truss, who said, let me throw the tweet on screen. Used to see Jimmy Savile at the pizza restaurant. Jimmy hanging out at a pizza restaurant. Couldn't imagine why. Next headline, got to read this one out to you for all my Brits. Life in Britain. Experts warn British households that they may not be permitted to use energy after 8 p.m. at night. This includes both gas and electricity. Now, I just don't see this working personally. Yeah, they might implement it and some people will follow it, but I just don't see it working. But that's why you've got smart meters. Why do you think you've got smart meters installed now? Because if they need to do anything, they'll just turn off the smart meter. You won't really have a choice whether you want to ration energy or not. But I think most people are just going to adapt their lifestyle. So let's say I worked a 9 to 5 and I was told, well, all electricity and gas has to be off at 8 p.m. Well, I'd just go to bed at 8 p.m. and I'd wake up earlier, right? Rather than waking up at, I don't know, let's say you wake up at 6 or 7, you might wake up at 5 instead. So rather than going to bed at 10 p.m, you might go to bed at 8 p.m. So is it really going to solve the energy crisis? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. The only way they're going to solve this crisis is, as I've been saying since the start, you need to allow for more energy. This is what they need to do. They need to allow for more energy, exploration, more production. The GDP of the country will just crash. It really will, and you've seen it in Germany already. The GDP is crashing. The economy will crash. Manufacturing is already closing. They're just closing up loads of manufacturing now. You're seeing candles in restaurants in Italy. This is just the beginning as well. This isn't like, oh, we're at the end of it. No, this is the beginning of it. Look at the video I put out yesterday, and you'll see the comments that they made at the WEF. Oh, and by the way, the new health secretary is WEF as well for the UK, just in case you didn't know that, as well as the Prime Minister and the new King. Oh boy, what a world we live in now, hey? But I'm going to wrap up here, I think, and just one last time, no, this isn't a green screen. Here we go. This is me. This is my boot. Okay, this is some gorse. No green screen. People are unusual. Very unusual. All right, well, that was an interesting walk and talk today. I hope you have a great weekend. Remember, if you haven't checked out my stock market course, you can just go on to the link below. I'll drop it in the description below. And you can actually have a look at that. Just go through and see all the different lectures, see if it's for you. It isn't about trading, by the way. Someone asked me, is it trading? It's not. It is actually value investing for the long term. But have a look, see all the lectures. If you're already an advanced investor, it might not be for you. But if you're beginner or intermediate, it's definitely going to be for you. All right, on that note, take care. God bless you and your family. I will see you now on Tuesday. See ya.